It's a new month and everything's changing. So much change in the world, but you can take comfort in one thing that isn't changing this month.
Linode! Linode is sponsoring us again for November and December, but we just kicked off Devember, and we got a video on Devember. You should check that out. But you can use Linode to build your Devember project completely for free. You get $100 credit that's good for up to 60 days, which is going to take you through the end of the year and through Devember. And we're giving away prizes to all the good Devember projects. Now with Linode, you can set up your own VPN. If privacy is important, you can set up your own server. It's a point-and-click installer. They've got guides for everything. We did the guide. Well, Ryan did the guide. That's the royal we there, I guess, on Wireshark. That was pretty cool. WireGuard, yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, my bad. Wireshark is the thing you use to sniff the packets. WireGuard is the thing you use to protect the packets.
Kind of weird how they work at opposing ends.
I want the shark. Krista's building a Minecraft server.
Yeah, we're looking into that right now. Hopefully it works the way we expect it to.
Woo! Woo! So, thanks Linode, and on with the news.
Oh, what is today?
It's the 13th, Krista, and we've already started recording.
Oh no, I forgot to look at the calendar before it started.
It's
Friday the 13th.
Oh my gosh, it is.
Oh wow. in a week where I'm sure nothing else will go wrong.
Yeah.
How are you doing with your Devember challenge?
Yeah, so Krista, it's your favorite kind of week because it's robot nonsense on Friday.
That's just a good solid block, I think.
And if you're somebody who loves robots and wants to get into some robotics, especially maybe you want to learn something about AI or, getting into that field, it's a hot field right now. You want to be part of it? It's a good way to learn.
It's a one-click install on Linode. You can get a CUDA instance. You get a free coupon. There's a link below. $100 credit. And you can run a machine learning instance right in Linode. Although it's probably more cost-effective for you to run it locally and then just, sort of experiment in the cloud. One-click installers for Plex, VPN, WireGuard.
Minecraft.
A lot of game servers. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of guides on how to do stuff. So today's episode is brought to you by Linode. Check out our link in the description below. Thanks a bunch, Linode. Please, please, please participate in Devember, or at least take a look at that forum thread because it's really exciting. But you know who else is thinking about AI? His Holiness.
I doubt he thought about it 10 minutes after he said that. He probably read what was on that little piece of paper he's holding in his hand right there and then stopped thinking about computers at all. I don't know what he's thinking about. I mean, I could say one thing, but it'd be very controversial.
Pope Francis prays for good AI. The next thing on the request list was to pray for the people that made cuties.
Look at the size of that chair.
He was praying that it would be a good development for humankind, which, that's fair. Let's hope it is.
That, some people commented on this, though. What does it mean if we create a being that is on par with ourselves and is self-aware? What does that mean for religion?
I think that
we're not supposed to be able to do that.
All the basic places you can go with that question, Isaac Asimov explored pretty well, and some of them involve just taking humanity's hands off the reins and or giving them a fake set of reins that's not actually a controller that's not plugged in, if you will.
No, but the question is not what happens with them. The question is, if we can create, then who created us? And does it have to be what the Pope says it is?
Well, we could be in a holographic universe. We don't know.
Oh, it's definitely a simulation. And what a dick move, simulation runner, to do the pandemic thing. Come on, bro.
Maybe this is how the simulation ends. Well, they click the X, and this is actually the shutdown procedure.
It's been so much worse than this in the past.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, no.
What was that?
Infiltrators.
Oh.
Oh, let's close the door. There's noise.
Yeah, I can hear that, so no way that the audience can't hear it.
Woo!
So here we are, still embroiled in the pandemic by most metrics, getting worse.
A lot worse.
Red County.
Going into the holiday season. Everybody's going to go Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then even worse. I don't know. It's going to get cold.
My mom's freaking out because a couple people she knows are probably not going to make it.
Oh, they have it? I hope she's not going to go visit them.
No, she can't.
Yeah. So, we're in desperate times. And the testing, I guess we're still testing, but it doesn't seem to be working very well. The vaccines, you hear a lot of headlines about the vaccines. I'm starting to feel about the vid vaccines as the way I do about all this battery technology we read stories about every week. Yeah. It's like, okay, yeah, you say it's going well, but
I think most doctors have said don't anticipate that until summertime. It's been our politicians who are like, oh, it'll be here by Christmas, and it's like I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
Well, we can't count on those things, but thanks to the beauty of robotics and AI, we have an incredible new tool. And these numbers seem impossible.
They do.
But,
MIT's Team Cough Detector identifies 97% of cases of the thing, even in asymptomatic people. Part of the challenge in controlling the thing is identifying and isolating infected people quickly, particularly in cases where the symptoms aren't noticeable readily. So this application listens to you talk, and it listens to you force a cough. And based on those sounds, it's able to determine whether or not you have it. They used a bunch of different sets of test data, so this is only really test data, and they trained it on a bunch of different sets of people that were known to have it, talking and coughing and that kind of thing. And it was 97% accurate for cases in general and 100% accurate in asymptomatic cases.
Wow.
I can't help but take a dark view of this because I feel like it could very easily, maybe not in this country, but it could be in this country, definitely in China. It could be used like drug dogs are used.
Yeah.
Which is to say, if we want to search your car, the dog is going to react to your car. Yeah. If you're maybe, I don't know, a Uyghur, that cough sounded suspicious.
That cough sounded like you've got some kidneys for us.
Isolate you.
Better throw you in the van.
The article is quick to point out that it's like, hey, if you do this on the app, like if this is a thing they put up on the App Store and you can download, that you run it, don't assume that you have it, just go get tested.
Again, the Communist Party might not worry too much about that whole testing part.
Yeah, the part that worries me is that, if that were released tomorrow, I would probably do that. And I would probably run it every day and probably, mess with it. And if it was like, hey, you should go get tested, I'd probably go get tested. But then I think about the people that won't even wear masks.
I bet if you're a retail worker listening to that story, you're like, wow, another way that we can get people to yell at us when they confirm positive.
And it's like the nuance and complexity of you should voluntarily wear a mask, and if you won't, maybe we should compel wearing masks. But, that crosses a bridge, it crosses a line.
Also think about this. Armies of Karens carrying around cans of black pepper and holding their phones out to you.
Just spraying you with bear spray. It's like, coughing in my phone.
We got one. We got one.
I'm calling the cops.
Truly the darkest timeline.
Now, often in the robot section, we do stories about robots taking human jobs. Rarely do we do the opposite.
Walmart ends contract with robotics company and opts for human workers instead, report says. Walmart just got the short end of the stick on the robotics company, probably. It was Bossa Nova Robotics. They don't want that company to run their warehouses anymore. They think people are faster and better.
I thought they had a picture
They
of
think
it.
people are cheaper, I bet.
So, CNBC article didn't point this out, but I saw some other articles before I read that one. And they seem to believe that because of the, how, and this drives me crazy because they take up so much room in the aisles. The people who are fulfilling the online orders, because they're out in the aisles all day long scanning stuff, they can much more easily do this while they're doing that.
That makes sense.
But that might not last forever. Although it does seem to have been kind of a sea change in how people shop.
Yeah, I really like the online grocery delivery for the office. The only problem is they like the I have to get real hostile with the substitutions because the controls for substituting are clunky at best and downright anti-consumer at worst. Because, it's like, I would like some bananas. We're going to substitute some plantains. What? That's not the same.
And they're real bad. It's almost like you've added another layer of old people to the store, because the personal shopper people don't know exactly what they're looking for because they're just reading from a list. It's not that they want that item, so they stand there staring at the shelf as long as the old people do.
Yeah.
So, not ideal. But
did you watch this? I laughed pretty hard.
I watched a little bit of it. So, deepfakes, up until now, have mostly been used by ne'er-do-wells or people just doing like little proof of concept stuff on YouTube.
Oh, this is a proof of concept.
And this is going to be huge, I think. The South Park guys, I got to say, I don't watch a lot of South Park, but recently I've been like catching up, and it's a brilliant show. It really is. The humor that they have on that show, the understated stuff is amazing. And I imagine it's going to be even better when it's real people doing it, except it's not real people doing it, but it sure does look like it.
South Park creators have a new political satire series with some of the best AI-generated deepfakes on the internet yet. As I read the headline, I heard it in the fake Al Gore voice saying to me, I'm super serial, and I couldn't keep it together.
So, Sassy Justice Fred Sassy is a news reporter who happens to look exactly like Donald Trump. And there's a bunch of other characters who are not their real world counterparts, but who look exactly like their real world counterparts. Kushner's in there, and there were some of the other people.
There's Mark Zuckerberg.
Like. Mark Zuckerberg.
And that's the most animated I've ever seen him.
He's running a dialysis thing that may be overcharging the citizens where he is.
So, it's a great way. I remember those old 80s. They don't really do this much anymore, but those old 80s shows where, like, Love Boat. Was that 70s? Where every week it was just a different celebrity who showed up on the Love Boat. And they had this rotating cast because it's a cruise ship. And now they're going to be able to do that, whoever's in the news that week. And they already kind of do that on South Park, but now the real person can be in it.
What a wondrous time to be alive. We're only weeks, we're only months, maybe weeks away from my Danny DeVito plays all of the characters in Lord of the Rings.
I could probably do that right now. There's a YouTube channel. I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's a guy. He puts his cat in every movie.
Nice.
I just watched the one where he did with John Wick. And not only did he replace the dog with the cat in every scene, but sometimes the cat was involved in the murders.
I'm going to check that out. It sounds amazing.
He does a pretty good job to it. The cat's name is like Al, something Al. Somebody will link that in the comments, I'm sure. We talked a little bit about this last week. So the full self-driving from Tesla is out to the beta testers.
It's rolling out slowly.
And surprise, surprise, all the people who constantly post videos about Tesla were part of the cautious beta testers. And we have seen some results from them.
I'm not drunk, it's my car. Tesla's full self-driving gets mixed reviews. This article has some of the previous hilarious full self-driving snafus that we covered before, but it's also got some new ones. So that's exciting.
It's definitely a little scary in some of them. Although in some of them, they are praising how good it does certain things as well.
They mentioned it doesn't do good at night, which is probably not too surprising. Human drivers don't do real well at night, but
it's kind of important.
It is kind of important.
You're able to drive at night. I don't know. We'll see. I don't. It's not awful, I would say, but I think the damning thing here is it's not what he claimed it was going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Not yet. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of important. I mean, you say not yet, but it's on the roads. That's a problem.
Under promise, over deliver.
Now, let's say that you owned a bar and or grill, and you wanted to really wow your customers, and you had an extra $75,000 burning a hole in your pocket. Maybe this would be a good solution.
Spot the robot spotted serving beers in Sevilla, Spain. That's a clever headline. So this is contactless beer serving at like an open patio thing. This is an area of Spain known for its breathtaking views. So there's a lot of open bars and like a terrace hillside kind of a thing, I guess. They don't have any pictures. They just describe that.
AKA rich tourists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're probably paying $12 a bottle to pay for that spot.
Man, if rich tourists can afford, if rich tourist bar destination can afford a spot and we don't have a spot for the office, something's not right.
Yeah, we're not charging $12 a beer.
Patreon.com/level1.
There's video of him and he wiggles around. It's like he does a little dance routine with it.
Oh, boys. Skip ahead. I'm impatient.
Whoever's shooting this video. Yeah, it's just the normal spot stuff.
Oh, Billy goes up and down. He wiggles back and forth. It'd be hilarious if some of those beer bottles came out.
It'd be hilarious if he grabbed one of those beer bottles and broke it off and started threatening somebody.
Give me a tip.
So transitioning into nonsense, I added this in the nonsense section just because, Engadget pretty much makes the joke for you. And it's a little ridiculous.
Razer's first mainstream laptop still has an RGB keyboard. It's so pretty. You know what's exciting about this laptop, though, is it's got a 16:10 aspect ratio screen.
By all accounts, it's not a bad productivity laptop, but they couldn't help themselves with the keyboard. I guess it could be useful in the dark.
You imagine, you're on a flight, and it's really dark, and everyone's, trying to sleep, and you're like, oh, I gotta send some emails.
I'm working
pull
on
it out, it's just shining.
Or even if you go walk into a conference room and everybody's, it's like they're on their professional laptops and yours is doing the rainbow pattern. Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't know how to change this.
I kind of like the subtle troll of that, though. It's just...
That'd be funny to program it with some hotkeys. And then, every time somebody threw out a really stupid idea, you'd hit, the red blinking one. I'm sorry.
It's like, why does your keyboard blink red every time I mention something about doing a new mailing list for our customers? I don't understand. Our customers need daily updates from us on our widget production. No, they don't.
Now, Krista, it's no secret that you love mushrooms.
I do, though not the kind that you're thinking of.
Why you got to discriminate? Do you not love all mushrooms equally?
I like the ones that I can identify correctly, and I actually can't identify these. They don't teach you this in mushroom school, as it turns out.
Well, they might start.
Oregon becomes first state to legalize psychedelic mushrooms. I think Oregon decriminalized a lot of drugs on this last
including
election.
heroin and cocaine.
Yeah.
In small amounts. So yeah, now you can't just buy these, I don't think. You have to have, maybe a therapist has to sign off on this or something like that. And you have to have a treatment schedule.
Just microdose the whole time.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be part of this, but there have been a lot of papers that say for things like PTSD and some things like that this type of a treatment is very, very effective compared to conventional drugs.
The other big one is terminal patients. It doesn't stop pain or anything like that, but apparently if you do a hardcore mushroom session, when you come out the other end of it, you're like, death, not that big.
Can't be worse than what I just went through.
I'm fine with it. Yeah.
I saw the future and it was AI and Elon Musk.
But apparently it just dials back your ego and just puts you in a better place mentally. The advocates say.
I'll be interested to see how things go in Oregon, because it'd be interesting if they have good results. How quick will that spread across the U.S.?
Well, to be fair, they kind of already did that. They weren't enforcing those drug laws in a lot of those places, which turned into rampant homelessness and feces on the streets and that kind of thing.
Because the super addictive nature of those drugs?
I'm a huge advocate of legalizing drugs, but when it's only legalized in one specific area, what's going to happen is you're going to concentrate the worst of society in that area. And it's a teething process. It's always going to be a bad thing. You can't have one of the most destructive wars in history for decades and then just stop and expect everything to be okay overnight.
It's not okay. See, this is what we were trying to protect you from.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's
the question I wonder about is people who have been arrested and jailed on drug offenses, do they get out now that that's legal?
I think they haven't decided that yet. This is a very slow process, all of this.
Yeah.
So they're going to start talking about stuff like that. But we're not sure yet. Who knows? If the unlikely happens and every remaining ballot is for Trump, I'm sure he will immediately try to put a stop to this. Mike Pence is about to burst reading these headlines. It's interesting. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was surprised because it's the top 10. They list the top 10 YouTube videos of all time, all music videos.
That makes sense. People will just have them on repeat.
I would think a cat video would get in there somewhere.
So what you're telling me is we need to make a music video.
Clearly, yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Let's get on it.
That's definitely our strongest.
The acting, the looks, our singing voices, all A+.
Hey, I did some poetry for the Ryzen launch. It worked out pretty good.
But you might be shocked to find out what is the number one and just recently pulled into that number one spot. Actually, you shouldn't be surprised at all, considering an audience who has the capacity to watch something over and over and over and not get tired of it.
Baby Shark becomes YouTube's most watched video of all times. All time.
All time, yeah. I've watched this a couple times. I've added to the view counter when hanging out with my cousin's son.
See, the crazy thing is that if you watch something over and over again, it doesn't really add to the view counter. So this is shocking. It said that it's been streamed it's been streamed enough to play continuously for 30,000 years. That means 30,000 people could have streamed it continuously for a year and roughly match that number.
What's
I did ask my cousin.
What's Masha and the Bear? Maybe that's not a music video.
I'm not sure.
It's clearly a kid thing. Gangnam Style, all these years later, still number 8.
I was listening to him this morning on Spotify. He's got some good songs. Very catchy. Fun to listen to.
So they point out that, this is just BBC doing some back of the envelope stuff, but something like $3 million from YouTube revenue.
Over 10 years.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
3.4, I think. Now, Krista, as a hiking enthusiast and someone who was in the Pacific Northwest for a while, is the Yellowstone one of your dream destinations?
I would love to go there. I haven't been in that part of the West. I grew up in Washington for several years. But yeah, I've never been to Yellowstone. Would love to go.
Well, if you do go, be sure and take plenty of raw meats.
Idaho man busted cooking chicken in Yellowstone Hot Spring. Usually when you see stories about Yellowstone Hot Springs, they're horrible, like someone fell in and cooked themselves, or they tried to chase their dog in, and the dog, died, and it's really sad. This is like the best outcome if Yellowstone has to be in the news.
The dude was fined $600 and is banned for 2 years.
They pointed out to him that while the cooking itself not super destructive or bad for the environment, but he was walking on ground that could have broken away and dropped him into the boiling geyser. Also, they pointed out that sulfur, a big part of that, like sulfur chicken,
doesn't really make the chicken super tasty.
Yeah.
There's so many questions.
He drove so far.
Idaho.
Just to do that. Yeah.
Well, you haven't heard much about the pandemic affecting pets anymore. That was a big story in the beginning. Remember when the cats and that tiger got it at a zoo?
There were 3 tigers that got it at the Knoxville Zoo. That was a recent story.
I think they were fine, though. I think tigers are strong against it.
Yeah.
As part of their natural immunity. But now there's also, I didn't include the story, the minks. Did you see the story about the minks?
Yeah, that's what I couldn't remember where it was. It was Denmark. That's what I just looked up. But they're all gone, and that's 1% of Denmark's GDP.
Wow. And another animal that might be affected by it.
Narwhals could be the highest risk of catching the horrible thing, according to a researcher. So they actually did catch. This article doesn't mention it, I don't think, but in Denmark, they actually did detect it in their mink population. So they culled the entire mink population.
Wow.
I think
narwhals are the unicorns of the sea. That would be sad.
I think they're protected, but the indigenous people are allowed to hunt them.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So that would be where the transition would come. Also, how about this website, thenarwhal.ca? There's a whole website.
I I was just thinking, I really like the design of this site.
It's a nice
Look at their
website,
little-
too.
Look at their little nav bar. It looks like waves. That's cute.
Not bad. Who do you
Huh.
think funds that?
Uh,
Big Narwhal?
Big Narwhal. Is there an about page? That's what I'm looking for. It doesn't look like it. Explore news. I think this is just like an Arctic news site. Interesting.
So not completely about Narwhals?
About us.
Just happens to be that there was a story in the news and they couldn't get on it fast enough.
A team of investigative journalists dive deep to tell stories about Canada's natural world.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
It's getting to be that shopping season. How do you think that's gonna? Are people gonna just throw caution to the wind?
Jeff Bezos is going to get another $70 billion before 2021. You watch and see.
I hate to be the person, but I'm already contributing to that because I'm trying to get hold of my Christmas gifts early this year.
I went to Meyer on election day. It was a madhouse.
My trips are just to the hardware store or Lowe's to try, get supplies so I can move in my house. And every time I've gone, it's just been like I've regretted my existence.
I saw that I didn't include the story. It was like right before I came here. I saw that Best Buy's not selling the consoles in the stores.
Yeah, you just got to get it online. They're doing that with all the stuff. They've got like the launch video cards and launch CPUs and like all the consumer electronics that has come out in the new consoles. None of it is in store.
Well, one store that no one really probably should ever have to go to ever again. And even at this point,
now that everything's online,
yeah, why are people going there? Is GameStop, and they might be feeling it a little bit.
GameStop is having a TikTok competition for its employees, and one of the prizes is 10 extra labor hours. Not just 10 extra labor hours, 10 extra labor hours on a holiday, so you get time and a half.
The big Black Friday week. So
wow,
it's like
so generous.
It's like a coordinated dance type of thing. It's really cringy.
This would make me furious. I would be so angry.
You also get a $100 gift card and an Amazon Echo.
If things continue on the trajectory they have been, we'll be talking next year about Amazon warehouse employees in a similar competition for an extra pee break for a.
Or not even that, just one extra portable urinal.
We're getting closer
to be shared.
To drink verification can reality.
Yeah, we have a what was the story that was going to go along with drink verification can? I think that's coming up. Anyway, Pornhub is one of those websites. Who was it? Was it Germany last week?
Yeah,
Germany's trying to get on the whole ban porn.
Well, you must show your age.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. Thailand took a much sterner approach, much to the chagrin. Did you know that Thailand was in the top 10 per country users?
No.
That's amazing, isn't it?
That is amazing.
They love it, and they were not happy to lose it.
Thais are hard done by the Pornhub ban that takes to social media to release frustration. What was the social media tag? It was like a hard something, I thought, or something really funny.
There's a translation of the Thai tag, and it says "horny power."
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what I feel like that can't be right. There has to be something.
No, I think that is because they're saying it's like they actually have. It's a political movement, and you can't. Now this article mentions that the leaders denied that the reason they banned it is because some of them had appeared on leaked videos on the site, which is a weird thing to deny. Like, did anybody think that?
Why is this banned? We've deleted the website from the internet. Do not ask questions.
I think this is one of those bans, though, that's fairly easy to get around.
Yeah, it's a DNS block.
Yeah.
And in fact, some of the social media posts with that hashtag are like, here's how you get around it.
Japan has an interesting cultural thing. I mean, it's not. We have these too, although they're not quite like this. But it's love hotels, which means that it's pretty much what it says. You have a couple of hours to kill. You're in the city. Can't get back home.
The article, like, I've seen this in, like, say, Las Vegas. And the ones in the article seem a lot more inviting and upscale than the ones in Las Vegas.
But
Yeah.
it boils down to by the hour accommodations with the knowledge of both parties that it's meant for sexual purposes. You get in, you get out. They lightly disinfected. Next group comes in.
But all the rooms have themes and there's lots of lighting, and it's going to be much nicer than what you have at home.
And maybe sometimes just take a trip into town. Hey, let's change things up.
It was a shopping day.
Get a little stale.
Yeah.
My understanding of this too, though, is where a lot of people live with their families. You can't really go out with your girlfriend or whatever. So they go to these instead.
Yeah, make a day of it. Yeah, we'll go to the Olive Garden. So, but there's an issue with these hotels because some people they're turning away.
Love Hotels Japan facing accusations of homophobia. One of the policy, it wasn't men aren't allowed. It was the front desk worker said something to the effect of men don't use the facilities properly, and it's like,
But that begs the question:
what is properly?
What was left behind?
yeah.
I couldn't get a read on whether that was true or that was just an excuse they were using.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely in the hotel industry, when the school bus rolls up with the tired football team, they're like, no, we're not sorry. We're not, they're going to, they just won or lost. They're going to destroy stuff. It's like, this is a small town hotel. You're not allowed to stay here. Maybe it's like that.
I don't know if your analogy stands, but is it purely because males are more aggressive and destructive? Is that what you're going with?
Yeah.
It's 2020.
I'm just saying that happened in our hometown. That was like a kerfuffle because it was like, hey, the last time they stayed here, they smashed a bunch of stuff and they didn't pay the bill, so they're not allowed to stay here anymore. And so it was like, okay, maybe something like that happened, but that seems are you going to ban all football teams? Because maybe you should, just ban the people.
One thing about Japan, they are not on board with any of this identity politics nonsense.
Yeah.
That's just not something that they're interested in.
Well, it seems like they're like, okay, you go do that. I just don't want to I don't want any
involved.
part of it.
Yeah, I don't want to clean up after it is basically what they're saying here.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. If you were entrepreneurial and you're in Japan, why not open one just for that, right?
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
That's a very American way of looking at it. It's like, that's a gap in the market.
Yeah. Listen, capitalism will solve most problems if you let it. Maybe not the way you think it should, but
sometimes it's very monkey's paw, yes.
Yeah. Another gimmick item, I suppose we could call it, out of Mr. Musk's camp. It seems like every time he tweets something stupid, the Tesla people, the cult, gets behind it and demands it to the point that he actually makes it a profitable product.
Elon Musk's Tesla tequila will run you $250 a bottle. Wasn't this the one that had some sort of punny name, like Tesla Tequila?
Yeah, Tesla Tequila. It doesn't really roll off the tongue, but
ugh.
It's a pretty bottle. But I will never understand people who spend this kind of money on one bottle of alcohol.
Handmade.
Here's the thing, if you buy that, if you're the kind of person who buys this, do you drink it? Or do you just keep it on your shelf?
You buy two.
I guess if you're rich.
You buy two, one to drink, and the other to insert in your orifices in celebration of your god Musk.
I figured bars would buy this to just, put on the back shelf somewhere. So when somebody orders it, they just give you regular tequila, and it doesn't matter.
They give you the bottom shelf garbage, and you're like, "Oh, this is not very good." Oh, but could it be good? This is one of those situations where it's being bottled by a company that just makes regular tequila.
Yeah,
there's nothing special about what's in that.
So the smart bartender will just buy one.
They keep filling it back up.
Yeah,
apple juice. And finally, this is I thought this was brilliant. It was
very clever.
It got the message out that needed to get out. It did it in a clever way. It wasn't offensive at all. And yet, the Karens of the world.
We have this story in solidarity with the Milwaukee County Supervisor, who has been forced to apologize for using WAP, the music video. Yes, that music video. Not really. To promote Weatherization Assistance Program. Why? Weatherization Assistance Program. A lot of people have houses that leak their atmosphere, and so a lot of cold air comes in. You've heard the term a drafty house. You have a drafty house when there are holes in your house.
Get it? There's some holes in this house?
Like the lyrics to the popular song.
Oh my goodness.
Now, there are some scantily clad ladies in that, but it's not. I mean, you could see that in public. Women could dress like that in public.
Yeah.
It's not like you don't see that in advertisements all over the place. So.
And go, yeah, the underwear section of the circular. And so, they chastised him. He had to make an apology.
Well, we're sorry for you, Ryan Clancy. That was very clever. You have our solidarity. Good job.
It was brilliant.
Nicely done.
You know, you missed an obvious joke when you did that wireless access point video.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
You should have just let me come in at the beginning of the video with a bucket and a mop. And be like, "What are you doing?" And I'll be like, "Oh, I thought this was something different."
This was something else.
Well, you can do that for the performance analysis video, which I'm still working on.
We've spoiled it now.
Can't be done.
All right, Krista. How about here's the goodbye for today. Do we have a president yet?
Oh, by the time this releases or today, like while we're recording it?
No, this would be the Friday the 13th.
Super Friday.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Express it in a goodbye.
Bye. I don't feel that confident. Bye.